Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for coming on to today's live stream. We're really excited to have you here today. I know it's the first one of our whole entire season, our season two. And so I'm happy to see all the people who have showed up in chat. If you're watching at home, welcome, welcome. We're so glad that you're with us tonight. Feel free to participate by discussing at home or jumping on to YouTube for our live chat, and we'd be happy to having you on as well as part of the chat. But welcome so much for everybody taking part in today's Monday Night Movie Club. Just as we get started, it's good to see a few regular faces from our last season back again today for some more, as well as a couple new faces that I know have been interested in Movie Club before. Just a reminder for those who may be participating in chat online, if you are under the age of 18 or under, we require parental permission. So there is a permission form in chat. I'll post it again at the end of chat today. Please make sure that your parent fills out that information, as I send out regular emails as well for upcoming events to parents as well. So that way you stay informed as much as we do. Also, to getting started, we're just going to go over, since the new season, let's do a reminder of all the guidelines that we have here on Monday Movie Club. So first off is our ability to share Monday Movie Club. Share the experience with those in your household, youth with your parents, parents with your youth, youth leaders. Feel free to bring Monday Movie Club to your youth groups. If you have friends and neighbors that you'd like to follow along with the movies or watch together as a group, I know there are a lot of platforms out there that allow you to watch from home but together, such as Netflix watch parties. I believe Disney's coming out with a watch room type platform as well soon, as well as many other avenues of watching. I know my friends and I sometimes we watch things and then text each other while we watch it. So that gives you a bit of insight of how you could do that. So share the experience with others. Also participate in Movie Club, being a part of what's happening here, as well as on live stream, as well as with each movie comes its own home discussion. So feel free to participate as much as you feel comfortable at home, and to continue to be kind and loving to one another. You know, a lot of these films are meant to bring us together. The art of movie watching really does bring a community together. And so continue to be kind and loving to one another, even when we are here in cyberspace connecting once again. So I wanted to start off, I wrote it in chat, but to start us off for the night, what was your favorite celebrity cameo from the Muppets? Muppet movies are kind of known for random celebrity show up. And so they're kind of littered with various cameos. Myself, I really like to see just Whoopi Goldberg show up in the movie and things along those lines. It was really, really good to see. So if you have a favorite cameo, feel free to chat in the text box or leave a comment down below. What was your favorite celebrity cameo from the Muppets? As always, we talk about movies completely open here on Monday Movie Club. So if you haven't watched the film and you're not wanting to be spoiled, beware of spoiler alerts. We talk openly about what happens in the film. If you'd like, you can feel free to watch us. Just be aware that we may be spoiling moments from the plot, and then watch the movie later. Or feel free to, if you're watching this at a later date, watch the movie first and then see what we discuss as a community. Seeing a couple others. So it's really seen a few. Selena Gomez was one of them. There's a lot of different things. And so it's been really, really good. All right. So today I'm going to start us off with something a little bit different. I have today a game. I found this game when I was doing some research, and it's called Muppet or Carpet. So here is what is going to happen. I'm going to have a close-up image of a Muppet's fur or the threading of a carpet. And if you're here on live stream with us, type in your answers in chat. If you're not on live stream with us, feel free to chat at home and see how many of these you get correct. So I'm going to show you the close-up version of the Muppet fur or carpet, and you have to tell me if it's a Muppet or if it's a carpet. All right. I'm going to make sure I can see live chat here. And here is our first Muppet or carpet. I'll leave some answers, some time for people to be able to answer in the screen. All right, so for those of you who guessed Muppet, it is Kermit the Frog. That kind of iconic green color, and I know some of us in chat, it's just like the color is a dead giveaway for that. Okay, excellent job. Our next Muppet or carpet. I knew this one was going to be tricky because the color makes you think gonzo, but actually it's a carpet. This blue color here, if you could see my cursor, is what I zoomed in on for this picture, but it was easily determined for a Muppet. All right, well done. I got two more of these and then we'll move on to our movie discussion. Muppet or carpet? So this one is a carpet. I will agree with you, Amy. It does look like Rolf's shaggy uh, brown fur from the Rolf the dog, but not quite. This one's a bit tricky only because I couldn't get the resolution quite right, but I hope you guys can guess it. Final one, Muppet or carpet? All right. It is a Muppet, as many of our chat people guessed, but it is not Miss Piggy. As I said, the resolution wasn't quite right. It was the newest Muppet from this movie that we were introduced to, Walter. Yes. So that was it. Beaker would have also been a good guess. Beaker is my favorite Muppet, I would think. It's a tie for me. If you have a favorite Muppet, let us know in the comments below or in chat what's your favorite Muppet. Mine is Beaker. My second very close one would be Animal, if I'm going to be completely honest. Because he plays drums and he just goes wild and crazy. And sometimes you just want to go wild and crazy sometimes. So that's for sure mine. Amy Gonzo, yes, is high up on the list for me as well. All good choices. All Muppets are good choices. I had a friend who really liked the old men who would heckle the whole time. I can never remember their names, but that was their favorite. And so yeah, so thank you for playing our little game of Muppet or Carpet. If I hope you guys got a lot of the answers right. I know it was kind of a mixed bag here on live chat who got it right and who got it wrong, but there was a couple close calls in regards to that. So well done. Now I'm just going to start our discussion portion for the night. So we see in this movie a lot of different character elements of regards to how friendships work out. And I was really kind of taken back by the support in which Gary gives Walter during this kind of journey of love for Muppets and all this other business. So who is someone in your life who supports you like Gary supports Walter? For those of you at home who may not be participating in live chat, I'm just going to leave breaks, as I discussed before. I'm going to leave breaks in between the questions just so that if you'd like to chat at home and not have some interrupted time, that gives you. It also gives ability for those who are participating on live chat an opportunity to type out their answers. So friends and family, excellent. Big sister, that's really good to have people like that. Mom, grandparents. We tend to find that a lot of family members tend to be those like really big support people to us. Thank you, Amy, for letting me know. The hecklers are Stadler and Waldorf. Um, yeah, for me, I mean, yeah, my parents. My parents are big supporters. Um, both of them equally in their own different, unique ways. um, when I decided I was going to go into ministry, it was in the middle of between grade 11 and grade 12, and I was aiming towards sciences. And I told my mom, and she just dropped everything. She's like, okay, we're going to, on camp Wi-Fi. I was up at camp, I still remember. And on camp Wi-Fi, she researched all the different, Christian colleges that had programs to help me advance into ministry and get the degree I needed. And my dad would drive me into school every single day and help quiz me for stuff. And they just both, yeah, my parents, I think, would be people who support me uh, the most. Uh, that and my husband. My husband's been a big supporter. Um, he's got his own ministry and his own work, and he still leaves room for me to, have space to do this in our house and other things along those lines. So, yeah. Why is it hard for the Muppets to put the telethon together? So when we think about when they're first putting the show together, they say, well, we'll make a show to get the money, to get the studio. And they have a really rough time putting the whole thing together. Why do you think it was so hard to put this show together like it used to be? So Amy, they haven't seen each other in forever. They lost their vibe. They needed to rebuild their friendship. Absolutely. I mean, you lose a lot of time. It's a good point. You lose so much time being together that in some cases coming together isn't as smooth and there's going to be growing pains. Absolutely. That's a good thought. Um, Sometimes it's hard to go back, Nancy. Sometimes it's hard to go back to sometimes what was so beloved when everyone's moved on or away. If they fail, then the heartbreak happens all over again. Absolutely. We see a lot in our culture, kind of this nostalgia for the old and like reruns of things and remakes of things. And we see this a lot in film right now. Um, and so then when it doesn't work out, yeah, there could be a lot of kind of that emotional pain attached to that. Great thought. No rhythm to no drums. Absolutely. Like why take the drums away from Animal? That's my argument. Um, Old arguments and grudges that have been holding up so long. It's hard to break them for stubbornness. Absolutely. I mean, if we in our relationships break down because of conflict, you make a good point that time creates more grudge. There's no forgiveness, there's no kind of ability of closure and being able to just find a peaceful resolution. Then it becomes really, really difficult to try to put something together when you feel so wronged, right? Like some of them, like Miss Piggy, felt so wronged that she was just like, we're not going to talk about what happened between her and Kermit. And so, yeah, like stubbornness, but I also think in regards to like closure for sure. Great, great insight. Thank you. Why is it difficult to let go of others? So we see this kind of struggle in a couple ways. We see it between Gary and Walter. They have that wonderful, I love that duet where it's like, am I a man or a Muppet? And they kind of have this struggle of like, Gary has his own goals and his own thoughts of what he wants to do in life. And Walter just wants to like, is very focused on Muppets and things. And it's so difficult for them to separate. You also kind of see Walter struggle with the idea of, well, you're the Muppets, and kind of placing them on this pedestal and like letting them go and letting them be just, I want to say human, but they're Muppets. Like letting them just be, instead of just these heroes that are unattainable, that's a better way to say it, but kind of bringing them back down to earth and on a more realistic keel. So, why is it sometimes for us so difficult to let go of maybe some people or some ideals of people that we have in our lives? Amy, good thought. I'm going to share it. You have memories with those people, and it feels like you're giving up a part of yourself. Yeah. There is kind of sometimes a grief attached to it, isn't it? Like you're losing something. And grief happens not just because we lose someone due to conflict or sudden like ending like death or loss or um, loss of relationship, but sometimes it's just, like you grow apart. Um, but yeah, so sometimes giving that up and giving up those memories would be difficult. Afraid of the uncertainty of next steps. Absolutely. I think all of us can relate to the desire to just stay comfortable and not move forward because we know where we are right now and that kind of things in regards to that. That's a great thought. I think also for me, it's the uncertainty of like, will the relationship be the same? So, like, I'm thinking Gary and Walter, for instance, if you have this relationship that's so tight, but then it's like, oh, I want different things that they want. Can we still be that close? And kind of the uncertainty of that aspect of your friendship can really keep you from not wanting to let either yourself move on or someone move on or both of you move on. Um, that can be really an interesting uh, an interesting case. All right, last question before my final thought of the night. What makes the Muppets so timeless and popular? So we see this in the movie where they're constantly told like, you're old news. No one wants to watch a telethon with the Muppets in it. No one wants to do this thing. They're told by executives and all this other business. And then at the end, they're so popular and they kind of have this timeless thing. What makes them that popular? Like, what do you think is the thing that makes them so endearing to the public? Thog. For those who are watching, Thog is one of the big blue Muppets that doesn't get a lot of lines, but he's there and he's just great. And we have a major Thog fan in chat right now. Uh, they're a family, they're friends, and they show that in their entertainment. Yeah, for sure. It's yeah, it's really about their relationship or who they are as people, right? Like I like Animal not just because he tends to have an anger management problem and likes the drums. Like I like him because he's kind of like carefree and does what Animal wants and kind of impulsive, which is not what I am, but I can relate to that or that desire to be that way. Um, or even like Beaker, like the smart, I can relate to like being thinking I'm smart and being intelligent, but not really being like outspoken or like there's Bunsen who does like all the talking, and then Beaker does like all the work behind the scenes, and I relate to that. Um, the older generation grew up with them in childhood, and so there's kind of this sharing of experience. Absolutely, they're relatable even though they're Muppets, not people. Yeah, um, yeah, nostalgia is a huge one. I think it's all these things. I think is what makes them so popular. I think no matter how much our culture kind of moves forward, it's it's good to see that some things in regards to like what we think is funny or what's relatable kind of stays constant. It's a nice aspect of that. So my final thought was kind of centered around this idea of what makes the Muppets so relatable. Like why do we relate to them? Like you said, Amy, like they're Muppets, they're not people. Um so um why are we so like attached to them? And it is kind of those like qualities of like personal qualities, like that personality, right? Like we can see a Gonzo. Like we can see Gonzo on screen and kind of think of those people in our life who are kind of like impulsive and risk takers and willing to like do the daredevil thing. We can see Miss Piggy and kind of see the people who are more dramatic and wear their hearts on their sleeves and bold and things along those lines. There's these aspects of personality and of human nature that we can recognize in our experience with the Muppets. And you kind of see that in the Muppet movie, right? It all started with we have to get our studio back. We have to get the building back. We have to get the building back. But in the end, it wasn't the building. That wasn't what was necessarily what made the Muppets, right? And they kind of realized that them being together as a family, is what brought them back together. And so the Muppets wasn't necessarily just the theater or the building, but the people that, or the beings, since they're not humans, the beings that were part of that community, part of that Muppet family. Um, and I kind of just thought about that, and I thought about how similar that is to the church and what the Bible says about the church. That it's not just, the church is never in the Bible described as a physical building. The church is described as the people and the community and the people being connected together under God. That's what the church is described at. We see so many different images. I have my phone here, which is why I keep looking down. So I'm going to pull it up so that way I can look at you guys a bit better. Um, we have so many different descriptions or metaphors of the Bible, in the Bible, for the church. We see a body of believers in Romans 12:5. Um, they're talked about as like a flock of sheep in Acts 20. They're talked about the church is built upon people. We see in Matthew 16 that Jesus says, on Peter my church will be built. Ephesians 2 talks about the church being built on people. God's temple is directly connected with God's people in 1 Corinthians 3. And so I wanted us to kind of take together, especially though things are reopening and schools are reopening. There's still, I know a few areas here in Ontario have been experiencing a bit more stricter guidelines in regards to social gatherings and things along those lines. There's still this restrictions in regards to pandemic. And even where we're comfortable in being, some people may be comfortable with, I'm okay to be at church in person, and other churches are going, not quite yet, we're not quite there. And I think what's important for us to remember is not the building in which we are together, but that we stay connected as community. So whether virtual, in person, social distanced, on a lawn, around a computer, around a TV, around your phone, it's that connectiveness that we should have within community under God. That's what calls us to the church. As much as the Muppets are brought together because of their love for one another, we as the church should be brought together because of our love for God and for Christ. And so this was my verse that I was brought to, which is Hebrews 10:23-25, and I'll read it for you. Let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Let us not be people who, I find this encouraging, to let us not be people who just are okay with not connecting with one another. When I told kind of friends and family we were doing movie club again, some people were like, "Why? It's just you on a laptop screen." In reality, it's this. It's talking to you who are in live chat. It's having discussions with people outside of this who may be watching the live streams at home. It's this community that is important. And so I want us to remember that we as Christians, we who follow Jesus, need to spur each other on. We need to encourage each other. We need to inspire and invite others to continue to meet. Continue to meet virtually, continue to meet in person, continue to meet socially distanced safely, continue to meet around a table, around a computer screen, via a phone. It's that connectiveness that is so significant. Let us not be people who give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another in that process. So that's kind of one thing from the Muppets I really liked, was this idea of community is not just the building you're in, but the people that you surround yourself with and stay connected to. So kind of as my final question with this final thought is, what are some ways that we can stay connected now in the fall? Amy, messaging on WhatsApp, texting, phone calls, absolutely. We are in a very great place in history that we have so many different devices that we can use as tools to connect with us, not just separate us. Um, Social distance visits in the park, maybe a walk. Um, Absolutely. Uh, since this all started, uh, my husband and my brother have reconnected over online video gaming. And so every week they connect and talk about each other's weeks and encourage one each other and what they've learned, and also, defeat bad guys and complete puzzles and do the video game thing, whatever video game they're playing. And so it's interesting to see how creative we can actually be throughout this process. continue to check in on friends near and far and see if they're in need of anything, whether just being friendly hello or to make their day. Absolutely, Nancy, it's a good one. I know since the beginning of this, I've been craving friends, and so it's been good to have people just randomly call me or randomly text me, and so I've been doing the same. It's good to check in on everyone once in a while. I think also now, weather's starting to get good. Some people are feeling okay. I know some of your students out there, maybe going back to school in person, and so how can we best connect through cohorts safely and with our teachers safely and with fellow students safely, this sort of thing. Youth groups who may be opening up, either virtually or in person. How do you stay connected there? Yeah, it'd be really good. Yeah, people going back to work has been great. Amy, the extrovert, I hear you. I live with two very social extroverts. Um, my toddler son, who is the most social extrovert I've ever met in my life, um, takes over my meetings on video calls now. Like he will just come over while I'm in mid-sentence in a business meeting and go, "It's my turn to talk." It's been hard, and I think it's been hard and long haul for everyone, but we've done so well that let's spur each other on. Let's encourage one another to not give up and to stay connected. Thanks so much, guys, for your insights on live chat. I hope those are at home who maybe not be at live chat, this was helpful for you. And so it's been great to hear the insights and see the insights. Looking forward to any comments that you guys post below in regards to our discussion this week. I hope you found it helpful and that you enjoyed the Muppets from 2011. So before we close off today, we are going to talk about what our next film is going to be. And so again, as I said in our welcome back video, it's going to be every 2 weeks that we are meeting. So this will be for October 5th, 2020. So not next Monday, but the Monday after. Okay, October 5th, 2020 at 7:30, right back here on live stream. We are going to be watching Night at the Museum from 2006 with Ben Stiller, Robin Williams. It's PG rated. It is available on streaming right now on Disney Plus. YouTube is rentable. Cineplex.com has it rentable for a decent price. iTunes it's rentable, and Google Play is rentable. So those are the places that are streaming it right now virtually. Also, I want to encourage that if you don't have access to any of those streaming things, I try to pick fairly popular titles. So please check your online resources through your library connections. So a lot of libraries, especially in the bigger cities like Toronto, will have a lot of ebooks, but also movies available to rent. So please check out your library's resources there. A couple warnings. It is slapstick humor at times and forms of aggression. We are talking historical people kind of not getting along with different exhibits together. And there's some bad behavior done by a monkey that I do not condone, but it happens, and unfortunately that is what it is. So just be aware of that while watching it. Again, if any of this does not follow under your own personal comfort zones or your own family rules, feel free. You are not obliged or obligated to take part, but we would love to see you in live chat anyway to take part in discussion. So that's it. So Night at the Museum on October 5th. We'll be back here for a live stream. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching and being a part of today's live stream. And I will see you all in 2 weeks. Take care, stay healthy, and stay safe.